home to the highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world. Highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world. And they're buying this Canadian donut and coffee chain. It's called Tim Hortons. If you've ever been to Canada and had one of their donuts, you know Tim Hortons make a fine donut. Although donuts are kind of like pizza and sex, I suppose. Like, have you ever had a donut that you didn't like? No, even like the not so good ones are still fried dough with sugar on them. It's really hard to screw up. But anyways, Tim Hortons, yeah, good. They're a Canadian donut and coffee chain. And this deal is basically creating one of the world's biggest fast food businesses ever. Means Burger King's corporate headquarters can be moved to Canada. This is yet another American company basically changing national citizenship to lower its tax bill. See, Burger King would create a new corporate parent that would house both companies, which would be operated independently. Obama calls it deserting. I call it math. It's more and more common now as American companies have looked toward taking over foreign companies, then moving their headquarters overseas to just lower their overall tax bill. The U.S. is home to the highest corporate tax in the industrialized world, 35%. Now, as far as business regulations go, well, I mean, that's a whole other ball of wax, which we're not going to delve into here today, but 35% corporate tax rate, the highest in the industrialized world, then federal regulations. It's not really all that surprising that the U.S. is no longer considered to be as business friendly as it once was. Yeah. And people are now calling, like this Democratic senator in Ohio is calling for a boycott of Burger King, saying consumers should turn to Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers or White Castle sliders, saying we need to further tax companies by implementing a minimum global corporate tax rate. Yeah, here's the thing. It's not patriotism. It's not nationalism. It's not anything other than math. And what I find to be really, really interesting about this whole situation is that where's Burger King looking at making the jump to? Canada. The great white frozen tundra, the land of unnatural fondnesses for moose. The land where curling is actually considered a sport. Oh, heavens to Gretzky. Almost got a button right inside the hog line. That means something to a Canadian. And to Burger King now, because they're moving their whole situation to said great white frozen north. But what's interesting to me about this is that we had our go at providing health care for all. Yeah, maybe some version of it works down the line, but I think the popular belief is that, well, okay, so here's the thing about the Obamacare thing. For me, when I looked into it, because there's such knee-jerky stuff with regard to Obamacare floating around this country that I wanted to be very careful to form my own opinions, especially if I was going to talk about it on the radio. And I do have a friend who has nothing but good things to say about Obamacare. Managed to get coverage for him and his wife, who suffers from really serious back problems, had surgery, wasn't able to continue doing her chosen profession, which was nursing, went to nursing school, and then basically jacked up her back extraordinarily badly, was left with debt from nursing, had to get surgery, and is now not on disability, still works, but is definitely in a compromised position health-wise, where she would have a lot of problems if she was just looking after her own nut financially when it comes to getting her back taken care of. And they've had nothing but good experiences with Obamacare. But I would have to hazard a guess that would be the exception rather than the rule. I actually tried to sign up for Obamacare just because I was like, let me see what this is all about. And I was on hold for forever. And they said they were going to send me a package of stuff, and I never got it. it really didn't seem like the person on the other end of the line knew what the hell they were talking about. So that was my little dalliance with Obamacare. I was like, okay, let me have a go. Let me see. Let me form my own opinions, as I would encourage everyone listening to do. Form your own opinions. Don't just take it from some honk on the radio or whoever the hell it was that you voted for last time. Form your own opinions the way I did. And the way I formed my opinion about Obamacare was by trying to sign up for it and not being able to do that because they wouldn't send me the freaking stuff that I had to fill out because the website was down and I needed to go with the old-fashioned tree-destroying paper version of signing up for something. Anyway, here's the thing about moving to Canada for the tax breaks. Moving to Canada for the tax breaks I find to be wildly ironic because lower taxes, as opposed to the U.S., where it's 35% the highest in the industrialized world, lower taxes in a country where they provide socialized medicine, where it doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, where you are. You break your leg, you go to the doctor, you might have to wait for a while. I don't know the pros and cons of Canadian socialized medicine, but I do know they've got it. Yet they still somehow manage to take less money off of the bottom line from businesses. It's an interesting one, isn't it? You would think. You would think that higher taxes to go to pay for a burdened socialized healthcare system, but nope. Oh, Canada, where, by the way, the net worth of the average citizen is higher than the net worth of Americans. Yeah, it's kind of true. I know my net worth would be significantly higher if I look at my paycheck. Don't you look at your paycheck and just get mad? Be like, what the hell? I sure feel like I worked harder than this. And on the one hand, you want to go to your employer and be like, give me more freaking money. But on the other hand, I don't know about you, right around tax time, I want to go over to Uncle Scam after having been unfairly bent over without the benefit of lube and go, give me some of that back. I'd happily pay double or even triple if I could earmark where my tax dollars were going. Like if I could get that pothole at the end of my road fixed, the one that's caused me to have axle problems 3 times, the one that's never been filled in properly. If I knew that my hard-earned tax dollars were going to that, then yeah, by all means, I'll pay extra. Give me an opportunity to decide where the hell this stuff goes, and I'll be all for it. But it's crazy that Democratic senators like this Sherrod Brown are calling for boycotts of Burger King when they're just trying to exist, move forward, make money. He said in a statement, Burger King has always said, have it your way. Well, my way is to support 2 companies that haven't abandoned their country or customers. It's not abandonment. It's not anything to do with anything other than math. And Burger King is a global country, no matter where it started. I ate Burger King a lot when I was in England. The English Burger King menu is awesome. It's way better than the American one. I guess they provide for vegetarians a little bit better in England for whatever the hell reason. I mean, look, you shouldn't have to provide for a vegetarian if you're a burger place, but Burger King in England does. And being a vegan as a kid because of my hippie parents, I was delighted to know that I could go to Burger King. I could get not only a spicy bean burger, which was and still is delicious. I could also probably still get the delicious veggie Whopper. So good. The Burger King Veggie Whopper, probably the best veggie burger I've ever had. How about lowering the freaking tax rate? We would do a lot more to keep American companies in the U.S. It would entice further investment instead of setting up a situation where people are like, oh, how quickly can I get out of the grips of Uncle Scam? It's harder and harder to make things work in this country. And I don't know, I'm not smart enough to know the vagaries of all of it. But I do know that it seems an awful lot like, well, if a country like Canada can provide socialized medicine for everybody in the country and still have citizens that are worth more than the average American, still have a lower rate of taxation for businesses, it would seem as though we are missing a valuable part of the picture. Some puzzle piece that the Canucks are holding on to that we might want to investigate so we could put it in our own little picture of what America should look like when we're done with it. Don't you think? Yeah, I thought so. Thank you so much for hanging out, being part of my radio family. At 80SXE, at Funk FM is where we be. If you missed any of it, you can check out the podcast on Spreaker in about 15, 20 minutes. Have yourself a great one.
Times you feel like it's cool to turn the other cheek and give people the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it. And sometimes you feel good about yourself for being a better person and doing that, well,